Good morning, listeners and viewers. Always feels a bit peculiar, doesn't it, Jeff, when you hear someone's voice that sounds like you, and you realize, do you think you sound like you?
No, you just don't, do you? I don't really like to hear myself when there's a playback. Kind of feel as though, that's not me, is it? It's not how I speak. I'm not as geeky as that, am I?
No, I genuinely think I don't sound like that. And if you can imagine how many times I A talk and B, I don't listen to myself. I actually don't like listening to myself.
Mm. But you've got a good voice though. You're a good speaker, so for you it's different.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, it's not about that. It's just personal, sort of what you think and feel, isn't it? As in, I just, when I'm speaking now and what I'm hearing isn't what I hear on a playback.
Mm. I think the professionals, they'll probably have some type of linguistic kind of training to ensure that they can tweak maybe their voice in a particular way where they sound better on a video or camera. I'm talking about those, in the public profile and stuff. I'm sure
I
the
like, I like pasta. I like pasta. Linguini. Yeah. No, I think you're probably right. Because if I look at, I mean, I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, but if I look at Craig Conway,
Hmm.
right, how he, how I hear him, and the playback on that, um, when I hear him on playback, sounds the same. Well, that's anyway. Obviously, it would. I'm just, I realize what a silly comment I'm making. Yeah, I wonder if he thinks he
Well,
sounds the
I think
same.
the point that you're saying is if we're having a conversation with him, let's say in and around the dinner table, and then you listen to him on screen, he's literally sounding the same. But maybe he feel the same in
Yeah,
both
that's the question. Sorry,
targets.
that's why I realized
Yeah.
it was a silly. Um, um, I think, yeah, it's anyway. You're listening to and
Gaff.
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
Each week we'll try and bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
We'll be talking shop quite literally, whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
Yeah, gosh. Jeff, interesting world, interesting space, interesting place,
Mm.
isn't it?
Yes,
Um,
most certainly is at the moment, Ammar. I think we must be living in historic times, really.
yeah, yeah, without a doubt. It's so anyone who was at the brilliant AB Connections Awards ceremony last week would have heard me mention and acknowledge the peace conversation, ceasefire, not peace, ceasefire that had come into effect or that had been agreed to come into effect. It's still quite fragile. It's quite sad that there appears to be an element of, I was going to say manipulators, whatever it is, but yeah, people who might be otherwise inclined to see it fail or not, or how it's being portrayed and things like that. But in any event, it's nice to see people not getting killed. I think that's, for me, the most critical part of this. And the second part is obviously the how do we sustain peace and support people and rebuild. I mean, imagine, right? You were like, I mean, you can only but imagine, you can't imagine. I couldn't imagine how people have felt seeing their houses bombed, blown up, going living in like horrible, camps, and barely getting fed, and then walking, hundreds of miles back to where you were, or however many miles over however many days, and then seeing what was your house and your building and your livelihood in smithereens.
Look, it's a horrendous situation. Unfortunately, yeah, I think I don't want to put a downer on things, but to me, yes, it's great that some efforts have been made and there's a so-called ceasefire, but I think can't forget everything that's happened. And the words of genocide and ethnic cleansing and A, B, C, and D, are there going to be any kind of repercussions for those that have done all of those things? Is the International Criminal Court going to have any substance when certain individuals had arrest warrants against them? Is that just all going to be dismissed? So it's still, whilst to the world, yes, there's a ceasefire, but really, there's been so much horror that's happened over there in the last 2 years or so, and it's not just 2 years when it started. It's a 75-year war. So I think for me, as I've said all along, you can only get peace in the world when you have justice, but that justice is a fair justice where it's equal on all sides. And if you don't have that, then I think you can't have peace in the world when you don't have a standard justice system. I think it's like when you have hypocrisy where you don't have equality and justice and fairness, regardless of whether you are Palestinian or whether you're Israeli, your parameters for justice should be equal. And I think that's how it should be in all societies with all things. But if you're like the guy with the biggest kind of I don't know, the biggest stick in the park, and you can go around and bully people, and then really you're never going to get sustained justice. So I think I would have said that I hope that one day the UN Security Council, where it's supposed to be the light in terms of, I think everything is there more in terms of it's all been set out and it's all been put into place. It's a matter of, does that have the power to be able to push all countries and all groups of people around the world to have that fair system for everybody? And until then, I think there's always going to be problems in the world.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair word to use, justice, um, and perceived justice or real justice, or whatever it is. Anyway, it's not about putting a dampener on anything, is it? It's more a case of being realistic on life. Let's get into the show proper. Let's go through the wonderful job that Jamie does whenever he pulls this together. So this week's headlines, sadly, do nothing but put dampener on things, do they? India's exports to the US have plunged by nearly 40% over 4 months after President Trump imposed 50% tariffs on Indian goods, including an extra 25% linked to its Russian oil imports. The steep duties have hit key sectors such as textiles, jewelry, and engineering, pushing India's trade deficit to a 13-month high of $32.15 billion, while exports to the UAE and China have partly offset losses. Trade talks in Washington aim to ease tensions before year end through disagreements over agriculture. Market access remain a major obstacle. What do you think about the trade wars and things like that, Jeff?
I'm just, I think I'm just sick of the Americans bullying everybody, the entire world. On, oh, this tariff's on you, that tariff's on you, that tariff's on you, that tariff's on you. We'll do what we want to any single country, including a country the size of India. I mean, they can't just come and change agreements that are in place just because they feel that they want to do that. There should be some kind of governance that doesn't allow America.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it is. I mean, look, if all of a sudden India, uh, China, and Russia said, "Okay, fair enough, we're now not going to trade in dollars."
But I think they've already done that, Ammar.
Well, not to that extent, have they?
They've begun into that. That's trickling in already because the US, I mean, sorry, the Chinese have dropped the dollar a lot. So when the Russians and the Chinese they do trading, and they're doing a hell of a lot of trading, it's not done via the dollar.
Mm.
So that's changing, and I think that's why BRICS is there to have their own trading systems and move away from SWIFT and A, B, C, and D. And I think that's their ultimate ambition. And obviously, the Americans in the West and not well, Americans especially, they cannot allow that to happen because if they do, then that has a massive, significant impact on their economy and their the strength and the power that they've built through that means.
I think, you know, people not being prepared to be bullied is my point. I don't think it's brilliant that there's further division or that there's things happening that there shouldn't and we don't want to happen. But yeah, it's a very odd world.
Yeah,
Historically, everyone was like, go west. Now everyone's saying go east. Um,
I
you
think
know,
there's a
and
shift. There's a shift, isn't there, Mark? Because
there is.
when I
Yeah.
think, unfortunately, Donald Trump does he not realize that if you're going to have such a scattergun approach to your presidency, and you're just going to all of a sudden every day you're coming up with some outrageous statements, whether it be well, India, we're going to put tariff on you 25%. And they literally go ahead and do it. And imagine how do you have stability as a business if you've got long-standing contracts with American suppliers?
Mm.
I'm presuming you've got some, official legal contracts in place, and then those contracts are just effectively torn to pieces overnight over one statement. And imagine the business that you've geared towards that particular investment and connection, and you've got staff and you've got manufacturing plants and leases and systems to cater for your particular product, and all of a sudden it stops.
Mm.
And the real impact on that is absolutely horrendous on jobs and people's livelihoods. Um, it it just shouldn't really be allowed. Really, there should be stability, and you should, if you want to increase tariffs when you get to the contract end, fair enough. You can have a different a new negotiation, but that's not the case, is it? And it's not just India; it's happening to so many countries, and it's just stifling nations and their ability to grow. And what about nations that want to be independent and they don't want to be reliant, or they don't want Americans to get in the way of their growth? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't. And I think, um, sadly, it is. So your point, America can go and bully and do what it is doing if it's perceived to be that way or allegedly. and what that translates into. Anyway, the other headline: UK unemployment rises to 4.8% as wage growth cools to three-year low. UK unemployment has risen to 4.8%, its highest since 2021, while wage growth has slowed to a three-year low, according to the Office of National Statistics. Regular pay rose 4.7% and total pay 5%, signalling weaker momentum. The rise in unemployment driven by younger workers coincides with vacancies falling to their lowest since 2021 and payrolled employees down 126,000 since last October. Higher employer costs from national insurance and minimum wage increases have slowed hiring. Inflation remains at 3.8%. And while the cooling labour market may support future interest rate cuts, it also highlights the fragility of the UK's recovery. Final major new UK-EU partnership to boost AI adoption and economic growth. The new 10 million UK AI initiative will accelerate the use of artificial intelligence across British science, business and public services. The University of Edinburgh's EPCC in the UK AI factory at Tenner will employ 20 staff. What's the relevance of this to us? Well, there's a lot happening with AI, and with every negative there is a positive. And the Northeast being a AI zone, I think, is a really big deal. What do you think about that?
Ammar, just the point you made earlier on did you say that employment growth was slowing?
Yes.
Or as in hiring of the number of
people. Yeah.
Well, that's just simply down to the cost of labor, isn't it?
Yes.
That's one reason. And the other reason would be slow down in those businesses, slow down in the economy, or slow down in the sales of those businesses, meaning that they don't need as many people. Is that the two factors, more or less?
Well, it's like people don't need enough people. Well, businesses are on recruiting because they can't afford to. Businesses are making less. There's less jobs out there, and wage increase, which is also impacting people as well.
It is very challenging out there. When is our Chancellor doing when is the next budget? Is it end of
next month? Next month, November is what it is.
The winter budget, Ammar, is that a regular thing, is it? Or is that just...
Well, they normally have a couple of announcements. One autumn budget. This is the autumn budget. And then one spring budget. So that is a usual occurrence. The concern at the minute is taxes are going to go up, some shape, fashion, or form, and highly likely for it to be income tax and VAT is
horrendous, man.
What it's highly likely to be. So because of that, it does become challenging, doesn't it?
Frightening. It's really frightening. I mean, I think, it's very worrying what's going on. The thing about this taxation thing, I think we've talked about it before. Why is it the case that every single, for how many years, I don't know, but let's say the last 20 years, has there been a budget where it's not been about tax increases? Fair enough, in the pandemic, they put the VAT down to whatever percentage that they put it down to for a period. And they gave away certain things. But take that out of the equation. I've only ever experienced tax increases or taken certain privileges away, whether it be the directors or whether it be like the dividends facilities that there were, or whatever it may be. And it's just putting businesses into a corner, and it's just been, they've been doing that over so many years, to the point where I don't know how it's possible for businesses to be able to sustain themselves, because it's become so difficult.
Yeah.
And maybe there's particular industries, Ammar, where these may not, the tax increases may not impact as much. So, for example, you know, technological industries where you can be based in a particular location, but then your stretch can be national. Whereas hospitality businesses where, you know, you need to run a bar or a restaurant and you need to employ X amount of staff, and that location is the business, and you can't go and, you know, serve the production that you create in that business is for that business, as opposed to a tech company where you can service around the world as like, for example, the call centers that are in India, when you call BT and A, B, C, and D, those type of businesses probably may not feel the impact of it. But I think small, medium businesses, they're going to feel a massive impact if taxes go up again, because I think a lot of people are on the edge already.
Mm, I agree.
And
But sadly, things aren't great. And rather than unleashing strategies or policies to support people, let's half VAT. Imagine what that would do. Let's half VAT. And immediately, thank you very much. Immediately, um, imagine how much that would encourage businesses to spend, people to spend. Jeff?
yeah, but it's obviously that's a sensible thing to do. I just don't know.
Well, if you reduced some of the VAT and corporation tax, if you increased dividends, as in let's look at some of the pains that we know are um, impacting the people and the economy. So, people, there's not enough jobs anymore because there isn't. There's almost sort of no growth in the vast majority of businesses, what you describe as foundational economy. Business owners are leaving in their droves to other spaces and places. Businesses aren't investing in things because of the capital expenditure, and they're hunkering down and things. If there's a whole range of factors that are impacting. So you'd go, okay, what we really need to try and do is shift that dial, and let's just do it for 12 months. Let's just do some immediate type of activity that by its consequence will bring more taxes naturally anyway. Because if you've done these type of things, people are more likely to spend, people are more likely to go out, people are more likely to contribute. Um, it's crazy, is what it is. And then if you couple that with some of the tariffs and things like that, I suppose we're quite fortunate. And one of the things that I'm incredibly where there's a yin, there's a yang, where there's a good, there's a bad, where there's a plus, there's a negative, or whatever it is. The tariffs from a free port perspective. So if anyone's buying anything from abroad, they need to be reaching out to the ISS and understanding how they can save some money through their goods. So there's a creation of a buyer's club, and there's a creation of a seller's club. And if it all happens through the free port, well, you're going to save lots of money, is what you're going to do. And you're going to then consequently make lots of money, is what you will do. So anyway, let's get back to the awards, Jaff. There's been some brilliant profiles, engagement. People are still buzzing. I've never seen that level of engagement. I think there was a count of a few million impressions just in the last week since the awards, right? In Across all platforms, people sharing, reposting, doing all of that. I mean, the level of engagement has been profound. And we want to try and tap into that. The Mercury Awards, did you go, Jack?
No, Ammar. I was waiting to get an invite from you. I'm sure you would have been on the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
table somewhere.
Yeah,
But it was
well,
brilliant
I
that it
mean,
was in Newcastle, though, isn't it? And I
it was
think
brilliant.
Sam
So
Fender went on
it
board.
was funny because I'd gone along to the train station, is what I had done, and turned up, and Tom was there from Blue Line Taxis with his executive car, like spaces. I'm like, Tom, what's he's like, oh, the Mercury judges are coming here. I says, all right, okay. And then there was a choir, and then all of a sudden I found myself in the middle of like, and then I was meeting one of the managers from a company there, and then I was saying hello to that person, saying that, and then we met loads of MPs and this that. He's going, Miles, you're a celebrity. Never mind these things. And I was chuckling. So funny. But it was brilliant. Anyway, of course I'm not. The point was, and is, it was brilliant to see
Did you
them here.
go to it, Amal?
No, I didn't. I didn't. It was Aura's birthday, so I was at my daughter's birthday, is what I was, and I don't think she would have forgiven me had I been sat there with Sam Fender or whatever it is. Although he was gutted, he wasn't really. He was buzzing. Good on him. I'm glad that he won.
Oh, it's brilliant, man. Sam Fender is phenomenal, top guy. He's done a lot for the region, and his you know his speech on stage is all reference to the Northeast being one of the best places in the country.
Mm.
And we've always
Oh,
said, take London out of the equation because it's just no one can compare to London. Outside of London, we are up there with the best region in the country. And obviously London has got its massive advantages, but then it's got so many disadvantages also. To live, the Northeast is the best.
there's
And
no
it's not
better
even and
place.
it's not even the Northeast, it's Newcastle.
Mm. Yeah, there's no better place. There is
Yeah.
no better place than where we live in our region. There is no better place. Anyway, we've got a special guest coming on the show shortly because I'm on a mission to promote everything that's going on and and be an independent ambassador of our great region. And actually, it's not just Newcastle, Jeff. As in, if you look at Northumberland, I was in Northumberland last week over 3 days, and there were some beautiful, brilliant places and spaces. And even when you go down to Teesside and things like that, so we've just opened up an office at the port in Middlesbrough, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
On the River Tees. So I opened that up on Wednesday. So we're actually and I'm probably going to be opening up an office on a train station, is what I am. Right. So all of a sudden, I'm talking about in the region. So if we've got Newcastle Airport, 5 point something million passengers, Teesside, Middlesbrough Port or Teesside, and then one of the mainline railway stations. I'm talking about 20 odd million eyeballs a year,
Mm.
right? So 20 million plus will be uh, accessing and seeing the brand and the offices and things like that. Now, imagine if you're coming into this country and you want to set a business up, and someone says, "Well, I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you space at Newcastle Airport. I'm going to give you access to a space at Teesside Airport. I'm going to give you access to one of the big shipping ports, and I'm going to give you access to the rail. So rail, air, road, ship.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
brilliant. It's so all of a sudden, 20 million plus people. I mean, the Newcastle Central Station has 10.9 million passengers a year, Jeff.
Does it really?
Yeah.
It's not fit for purpose though, is it?
Well, why are you saying that? Of my
No.
new home?
Well, it's not, man. Not the Newcastle train station, isn't.
Why? Why are you saying that?
Because if you're going to have 10 point X amount of million people coming into Newcastle City, it's the first point of call, your first impressions, and you've got someone that's going to come to pick you up. And how are they going to pick you up? what, you got like 6 bays or something for 10.6 million people.
No, anyway, all of that. Stop being so negative,
Well,
right?
it's not
Like,
negative, it's just the
get
reality.
a rickshaw. Or get the metro. Oh, it doesn't work.
No, well, I'm gonna get the
It
bicycle.
doesn't work.
Oh, we're gonna rock up with our bikes. Say, hold on, there's your mountain bike, mate. I've just like rode it with us, and let's go onto the bike.
Here's a scooter.
Yeah.
Here's a scooter. Uh, anyway, listen, we've got a special guest. So anyway, I was saying that it's great. I'm on a mission to promote our wonderful region, and I'm doing it independently. I'm not asking anyone. I'm not like sort of going to anyone. We're just doing it, and it's the best way to do it. And I feel so liberated. I feel so, historically, I've gone, oh, can we do this with, the authorities and the organizations that are responsible for this? And it's just, okay, if you don't want to do this, we're just going to do it anyway because we see the value and the worth of it. And some of the stuff that I'm doing, Jeff, is like even more. I'm so like excited by it because it's took me a few months to get to a place, and it was a wiggly line. It wasn't a straight direction. The ship sort of done that and whatever else. But I can see the light. I can see the light. And the one thing is, everybody, doesn't matter what happens, everyone's going to need to buy something. So if you're sat in the middle of that and you're supporting businesses and organizations to buy things and sell things and have a platform called Ammar, what do you think about that, Jeff?
That's good. Yeah, I like that. You always got some nice, quirky,
Yeah,
quirky name.
nothing ever happens. I'm this guy in the garage on, just inventing stuff all the time. Nothing ever goes. Nothing ever happens. Anyway, we're going to have an extra special guest. The awards, we're going to have a big ceremony. Next year's bigger, brighter, better is what it is. And the nominations for the awards are open. And after an incredible evening celebrating diversity, innovation, and community impact at this year's awards, we're already looking ahead to next year's ceremony. The ABC Awards continue to shine a spotlight on those individuals and organisations across the Northeast who are driving positive change and making inclusion the standard, not the exception. Whether you know a business championing equality, a community group creating opportunities, or an inspiring individual making a real difference, we want to hear from you. Visit abconnections.org to submit your nomination and help us celebrate the people and organisations shaping a more inclusive Northeast. And next year, we're going to close the nominations early with a special window for extraordinary nominations for someone who does something extraordinary. But the nominations are going to close early so we can make a bigger song and dance of our finalists, is what we're going to do. Anyway, in a minute, we're going to have Lisa-Marie Tonelli, the director of Northeast International Film Festival, coming on shortly. That's happening next week, Jeff. It's what it is. It's happening in and around Newcastle. Lisa's going to come on and tell us a little bit more about that. And is the visionary, a leading platform championing bold, boundary-pushing cinema, creates a festival that celebrates underrepresented voices, emerging talent, and socially resonant storytelling, blending regional authenticity with a global outlook. The festival, so it opens on the 21st of October, celebration at Tyneside Cinema, spotlight screenings across various other cinemas, and then there's an awards gala, closing night celebration with jury and audience awards, honouring outstanding achievements in filmmaking. I think it's brilliant. I think anything that brings things to the Northeast is good.
100%. We're always there to try and support anyone who's gonna develop and raise the profile of the Northeast.
Yeah. I agree. What's happening in the city centre, Jeff? So, did you go to the after party at a?
No, not at all. I wasn't invited. I thought the only means of getting invited to cool spaces is via yourself. So I didn't get any messages or any e-invites. So I was just stayed at work.
And
But
how is it? Is it
um,
what is this period like, Jeff?
you know what, Amar? I think interestingly though, look, it's brilliant that um the Mercury event was in Newcastle, and naturally there's going to be a lot of uplifting people staying in the hotels, and that's going to bring that develop, you know, business for those local operators. I think this is for hospitality. We're getting into a busier time of the year. For sure, you can see
Mm,
that, you can feel it. Um, I think it needs to be a good end to the year because it's been challenging throughout the year with cost increases and stuff. In the city centre, Omar, big developments, getting quite close to quite a lot of big developments getting to the end of their build. So you have the fire station on Pilgrim Street. That's going to turn into the Gotham Hotel. I think it's a five-star hotel. I think it's got around about 100 beds. It'll have a bar. It'll have a restaurant. It's a very high-end um, kind of product. But the opening is delayed because it was supposed to open. It should be open by now, but I can still see the diggers outside. So I think naturally, just with all building projects, seem to be a delay. But I think that's going to be brilliant for the city. Next to it are the Stack development um, on the bottom of Pilgrim Street. So they've been doing a lot of work there for a good couple of years. It's not like a normal Stack development because as opposed to it being shipping containers, part of it is the physical kind of old. I think it was something exchange building. So they've brought those to life, and I think they've really, really significantly improved those buildings and that particular space. So I think there's going to be another X amount of leisure operators coming there, which I mean, I don't know whether Newcastle is big enough to sustain more leisure sites, but it is what it is. We've got a really exciting, I've got a really exciting announcement in that there's another super duper restaurant that's opening in on Grey Street. I don't think there's been any official announcements anywhere, but we've seen something in a license application, and it's a company in London, from London. It's called Flat Iron. They do
right.
it's a steak restaurant, but a very cheap and cheerful steak restaurant. Very very quirky, really successful in London. They always have big queues outside. I think it's an interesting brand, a good quirky brand to add to Newcastle's restaurant scene because it's quite unique. Taking up a great site just where the Court building used to be on Grey Street, the Court Bank, sorry. So I think that's going to be good. I don't know if they get open by the end of this year. It's going to be early next year. I'm not too sure. So there's quite a few new things happening in the city. Um, so it's always good. And it'd be interesting to see how they do.
Brilliant. Well, our extraordinary guest is now here. Let's bring Lisa on the show. Um, and I'm really excited to have Lisa on the show with us this morning, live on Spice FM. Good morning, Lisa-Marie. How are you?
Hey, Ammar, can you hear me?
We can. Yes. Can you hear us okay?
I can. Thank you so much for the invite to the show.
No, you're very, very welcome. Thanks for joining us. And forgive me, it's always helpful for us to do some introductions. Start by saying who you are, what you do. I've already spoken about you, but who are you? What do you do, and why do you do it?
So, my name is Lisa-Marie Tonelli, and I'm the founder and festival director of the Northeast International Film Festival, which is a community interest company. It's an international competitive film festival. So, we screen films from all over the world in all forms. So, short films, feature films, pilots. We've now brought in X on immersive strands. We deliver networking events, an awards gala, and we also host free industry related workshops and masterclasses as well throughout the region.
Brilliant. So, Lisa-Marie, tell us, why do you do it?
Oof. Do you want the short answer or the long
Well,
one?
you've got a few minutes. Go. People like to connect with people. Certainly I do. So I like to learn about people. I think there's nothing quite as powerful as understanding. So give us all of it.
So when I created the festival, it was during COVID, during lockdown, in 2020. My prior experience is actually in production, so mainly short films. Did a couple of feature films as well. Um, and I remember attending a film festival back in 2018 and thinking, wow, this is incredible. You know, this is just what the region needs. Unfortunately, that did only seem to be a one-off event. Um, so off the back of that, I kind of thought, you know what, this is definitely something that not only the industry in the Northeast is very much wanting, I think, but also filmmakers as well. The only thing that appeared to be lacking was the kind of diverse and inclusive platform based right here in Newcastle. Um, there are a selection of other film festivals throughout the country, which are all, I guess, they're all kind of supported by their own councils, but there wasn't actually anything in Newcastle itself. So I mean that was one thing, but the main thing, to be honest with you, is that I really just wanted a qualifying platform in the Northeast for the industry around here. So to have that kind of BIFA and BAFTA qualified platform so that filmmakers could access that on their own doorstep was to be huge. But I wanted it to be a kind of dual prong effect where, while also having this focus on regional filmmakers, also allowing our audiences in the Northeast to get access to such a kind of more diverse and inclusive array of content that they'd be able to identify themselves more on screen. I think there was a severe lack of that in the region as well. So I think those were the two main things that was in my mind: supporting industry in the area, but also giving our Northeast audiences access to this kind of film.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lisa-Marie. And you've been doing this, obviously, you decided to do this during COVID, where you couldn't really do much. But now it's you've ran the actual physical type of festival now for 2 or 3 years. Is this the third
No, Ammar.
or?
So this year is actually our fifth year birthday. So we're having a little celebration for that with our opening screening next Tuesday. So anyone that purchases a ticket to the opening screening at Tyneside Cinema next Tuesday will also kind of benefit from the lovely pre-recorded Q&A afterwards with the director, but also pre-screening, we're having a little 45-minute networking party where the NEIFF, as I affectionately refer to it as, will be host a little networking thing where we'll supply everyone with like a little welcome drink and a piece of birthday cake just to kind of really celebrate.
Brilliant. Oh, well done. And what's been the highlight?
Ooh, the highlight of the festival or the highlight of my journey within the festival?
Both. Let's
Both.
let's
Oh.
do the festival and then let's listen to you.
For me, the highlight of the festival has been getting our BIFA qualifying status. So we were the first, not only the first film festival in the region to get that BIFA, which is British International Film Awards. So to get that qualifying status, we were the first one in the region, but also we were the youngest ever festival to receive that. So technically, I think festivals have to be running at least 7 years to even be able to apply for BIFA qualifying status.
Right.
And even then, it's not guaranteed. But I think our program and our ethics and our values and everything else was so strong after year one, that we were awarded this status after the first year of the festival. So that was a massive achievement, and again, something for our local industry to really celebrate. But then also the people submitting the films, we're going to kind of get that status and be able to apply for the BIFAs as well. And then our audiences are kind of guaranteed that there's a certain kind of quality attached to the content that we're putting out there as well. It's almost like a mark of quality, the kind of BIFA status, the BAFTA status. Hopefully we'll be the youngest to achieve BAFTA status next year.
Fantastic. I love that ambition and aspiration. So, and why did you win it? As in what? So you submitted an entry, and why were you given that as the youngest and the first? Sort of, is it because you're actually making such a big difference? Obviously.
I think it was so. With the Northeast International Film Festival, I wanted to have an entirely different approach to other existing film festivals. The NEIFF, for once, I mean, straight off, is entirely volunteer led. It's a community interest company. You know, nobody gets paid for their role in it. I don't get paid. It's a kind of like a charitable institution. A couple of the other things we do differently is that we are partnered with the universities and colleges in the region, and
Right.
we facilitate placements, internships, very much practical skills training. I mean, just after this, I'm going to be on my way up to Newcastle University actually to deliver a presentation to the students up there. But I think as well, offering that kind of educational access for free, open to absolutely everyone. I think that was one of the things that was different. We're also still the only film festival to be completely carbon negative. So we signed up to the One Tree Planted initiative. So for every ticket bought online, a tree is planted. We're the only one to be signed up to the BBC 50-50 Equality Project. So it wasn't just, I think, the excellent program of films that we put on, but also the kind of inclusive and diverse nature of the festival itself, and the team too.
Well done. And so that's the festival and your highlight. So tell us a bit more. For some of our listeners, they wouldn't understand acronyms, they probably don't understand what production means. So forgive us if we're sort of trying to get into a bit more detail or understanding, Lisa-Marie, if that's all right.
No problem. I think my highlight personally during this journey was quite recently, actually. I was named in the King's Birthday Honours, and awarded an MBE for my contributions to film and charity. It's not actually just the Northeast International Film Festival, but I also have other roles. So I'm a full BAFTA member. I'm also a BAFTA judge. I am a BIFA voter as well. But aside from that, I am, a board member and director of Autism Able, and a trustee of Fertile Ground, which is a performance arts charity in the region. So very much, I think, roles of a charitable nature in and around arts and culture in the region. But that was a massive personal achievement, I guess, receiving the MBE.
Brilliant.
Well,
I think that's
because it is a
amazing.
huge award to receive.
Oh, it's amazing.
Thank
Well
you.
done. And congratulations, as you say. And did you go down, Lisa-Marie? Did you go down to collect it?
So actually, Ammar, it was meant to be a few days ago, so in the one just recently, but I was in Berlin at the time.
Oh,
Thankfully, there's quite a few of these a year, so I will be there on the 19th of November, which is just a few days after my birthday. So a really nice way to celebrate.
no. Brilliant. Oh, well done. Okay. So Jalf, Lisa-Marie, have you come across Jalf before? Do you know who he is?
I haven't. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Lisa Marie. I have a question. Obviously, you're doing something quite significant to kind of elevate where Newcastle is and the connections to film and ABC. And are you getting support from bodies in Newcastle, council and other business institutions, or is it just something that you're doing entirely by yourself?
To be honest, Jeff, we don't, and I think, like I mentioned before, most film festivals are supported by their own councils. For example, there's the Sunderland Shorts Film Festival that's supported by its own council. Their festival director is in a paid position. With the NEIFF, it's different. I'm not in a paid position. It's not. It's very much kind of doing it on your own. And I did catch, previous to me coming on here, that the previous 15 minutes, when Ammar was talking about doing things himself, without kind of certain support from councils or whatever. And that is unfortunately how it has been with the NEIFF. We have received bits of funding. So last year we got a little bit of funding from the North Shields Cultural Quarter, and that was to kind of bring some events into North Shields itself. We loved it so much, and I'm from around here, that we will be doing it again this year, even without the funding. But yeah, it really is a challenge to kind of get funders and sponsors and things on board each year. And I spend, I think, 60% of my time writing out funding proposals, as I'm sure do a lot of arts organisations and charities and kicks. But in terms of funding, it's very much a self-funded venture.
Well, good on you.
Well done.
Yeah.
And sorry, there isn't the level of support there should be. And actually, I'm looking to try and address some of that by way of collaborating, Lisa-Marie. So, I know that we're picking up and having those conversations independently. I feel, even listening to you, even more motivated and encouraged to drive forward and have people coming together to support one another. And Jalf, is the guy behind who makes the magic really happen from a culinary creative perspective. He's probably the most recognized, unrecognized restaurateur in the UK. So he is the owner of Dabawal, Kai and Dude. Is he is?
Is that Kai Kai or Kai?
Kai, yeah.
Kai Kai. Oh, is that true? Is that true, Jack?
Sorry,
that is actually my favorite place in the world for lamb chops and broccoli. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That's where he's sat. That's exactly where he is sat right now. Is sort of Kai is where he is. So, so we're going to have to tie in, Lisa-Marie, next year some events and activities into these spaces. Have maybe explore some connectivity in the way that we'd want to in that regard. Anyway, we're coming up to the end of the show. Thank you ever so much for joining us, Lisa-Marie. I'd encourage everyone to get tickets. Check out Northeast International Film Festival. We'll do some more promotion. We'll send some stuff out. And please get along and support Lisa-Marie and all of the brilliant artists and creatives and producers and directors. All the best.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well done. Thank you.